Hi, you're watching Reddit Confessions. Someone spilled sangria on my shoes the moment she grabbed his hand. That's what I remember first. Sticky red dripping over my laces, followed by laughter that didn't sound like it belonged to any of our friends. Not the kind of laughter you hear when someone tells a joke, but the kind that fills a room right after a car crash. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Clap. Pretend. Leave. Charisse looked right at me as she laced her fingers through his, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her smile wasn't warm. It was the kind of smile people wear when they've already made the decision, and your reaction is just part of the entertainment. Relax, darling, she said. It's just one night. A few people gasped. One guy laughed, and someone muttered, "Wait, is this a game?" No, it wasn't a game. I watched my wife, my actual legal wife, turn away from me and whisper something into the ear of a man she'd never once mentioned before tonight. A man who showed up late, didn't bring a dish, and spent most of the evening looking at her like he already owned the parts of her I thought were mine. I don't remember dropping the plastic cup, but I heard it hit the pavement. The sound echoed louder than it should have, and nobody stopped her. Nobody asked if I was okay. They just watched. She walked toward the edge of the deck with him, fingers still intertwined, like she was guiding a guest to the dessert table. Except she wasn't offering pie. She was offering the final piece of my dignity. That was supposed to be my celebration, my promotion, my one rare moment to be proud of something. Instead, I stood in a crowd of people who pretended not to notice that a man just got erased like a chalk line in the rain. Later that night, I'd sit on the bathroom floor and replay her voice over and over again, trying to decode the exact tone she used when she said just one night. Like it was casual, like it didn't matter, like I should have expected it. But in that moment, I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just stared at her green dress fluttering as she walked away. That same dress I'd zipped up earlier, right before the guests arrived. Right before everything fell apart. As she walked off with him, someone started clapping. I don't know who. Maybe one of her work friends, or maybe someone who thought this was performance art. Either way, the sound hit me like cold water. Clap, 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 like a slow, sarcastic drumbeat for the ending of my marriage. That applause will haunt me longer than her footsteps. I stayed standing in the exact same spot, like if I didn't move, none of it would count. Maybe it would just rewind. Maybe she'd laugh and run back to me and say, "Gotcha. Just kidding, babe." But no one in the crowd laughed. No one pulled her back. Instead, one of her friends, I think her name's Lacey, walked by, gave me a sympathetic shrug, and whispered, "She warned you." Warn me? What warning? What did I miss? I stumbled back into the house, stepping over paper plates and crushed cups. The music was still playing, upbeat and synthetic, completely at odds with the storm brewing in my chest. In the kitchen, the lights were too bright. I opened the fridge just to have something to look into. No thoughts, just cold air and silence. My reflection in the glass jar of pickles looked more stable than I felt. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and opened her messages. And there it was. A name I hadn't noticed before. B. Just the letter. Hundreds of texts. Most of them short. Some with hearts. Others with pictures that made me want to throw the phone across the room. I'd been so busy trying to prove myself at work, I didn't realize I was losing her at home. Or maybe she was already gone, and I was just the placeholder. The sad man who paid the bills and kept the lawn trimmed while she rehearsed her escape. The worst part? She didn't lie. It really was just one night. That night. The night she stopped being my wife and turned into a stranger in a dress, walking away like I was some distant memory. And I had no idea how much worse it was about to get. By the time I woke up the next morning, I wasn't sure if I had actually fallen asleep or just blacked out from emotional exhaustion. The house was eerily quiet, with the kind of stillness that makes your ears ring. I hadn't heard her come home, hadn't heard her shower, hadn't heard anything at all. For a split second, I imagined she might be back in bed beside me, that the entire party had been a stress-induced hallucination. But when I rolled over, the bedsheets were still cold on her side. Her pillow untouched. That awful green dress she wore, not draped over the chair like usual. It was gone, just like her. I dragged myself to the kitchen hoping. I don't even know what I was hoping for. Maybe an apology note. Maybe a single sentence that said, "Let's talk." What I found instead was a yellow sticky note on the fridge that read, "There's leftover dip in the fridge. Don't forget to water the plants." See, not love you. Not I'm sorry. Not even, I'll explain later. Just dip. And plants. That was when something cracked inside me. I wasn't angry yet. I didn't even have the strength to be angry. I just felt erased, replaced by a man who wore jewelry on both hands and called people boss, while never once looking me in the eye. And she chose him over me. Not privately. Not secretly. She humiliated me publicly like it was something she'd been waiting to do for months. I walked through the house and noticed things that didn't make sense. A drawer in her vanity left open. Her gym bag missing. Our wedding album on the floor near the bookshelf, like it had been pulled out and tossed aside. I picked it up, flipped through the pages, and stared at a photo of us laughing on the beach during our honeymoon. I looked like I had no idea what was coming, because I didn't. My phone buzzed and my heart jumped. I thought maybe it was her. Maybe she realized how far she'd gone. Maybe she felt guilt, or regret, or even a flicker of humanity. But it wasn't her. It was Alan, the same friend who toasted me the night before and then said nothing when my wife grabbed another man's hand in front of everyone. His text said, "Hey man, Charisse mentioned you might need a day. Let me know if you want to talk." She mentioned I might need a day? Like I'd stubbed my toe. Like I wasn't watching my life collapse in slow motion. I replied, "Did you know?" He didn't text back. That silence said more than anything else. I sat down at the kitchen table, facing the mess from last night. Crumpled napkins, empty glasses, 2 half-melted candles, and a piece of broken stemware that no one bothered to clean up. That was my marriage, party leftovers and dangerous edges. Then I noticed something that made my stomach churn. In the trash bin, barely covered by paper plates, was a folded piece of notebook paper with my name on it. I pulled it out, dreading what it might say. But when I opened it, my blood ran cold. It wasn't a note. It was a list. And I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was titled Exit Plan. 2 simple words at the top of the page, underlined twice, with tiny stars drawn next to them like it was a grocery list or a vacation itinerary. I stared at it, half expecting it to dissolve in my hands or somehow vanish like a dream. But it was real. The cheap ballpoint ink, her looping handwriting, the checkboxes, all of it as sharp as a slap in the face. The list had 7 items. 6 were already marked with perfect little check marks. The first one read, "Rebuild wardrobe before leaving." The next, "Get on birth control early, he's paranoid." Then, "Make Wendell feel responsible." That one made my lungs freeze. I didn't even know what that meant until I remembered the countless conversations we'd had over the past few months where she'd guilt me for working late, for being emotionally absent, for missing cues she never actually gave. All of it rehearsed. Or worse, strategic. The 4th box, trial night with B. That one wasn't just checked. It had a smiley face next to it. The 5th read, "Normalize his presence. Make Wendell think he's just a co-worker." That explained the random mentions at dinner. The half-laughs when she'd say, "You know, Blaze said something hilarious today." I thought she was just trying to make conversation. I had no idea she was staging a slow invasion of my sanity. 6th box, stage the reveal in public for emotional distance. That was the party. The hand-holding. The line, "Relax, darling, it's just one night." It wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't reckless. It was planned. Prepped. Like some kind of corporate rollout of her new life. The 7th, the only one not checked, read, "Wait for him to break first. Do not initiate divorce." That's when my hands started to shake. She was waiting for me to collapse. She wanted me to be the one who pulled the trigger so she could walk away guilt-free, or maybe even claim victimhood. I could already picture her sobbing in front of some mediator, saying, "I don't know what happened. He just changed." When in reality, she'd been scripting this entire thing behind my back for who knows how long. I couldn't breathe. My own kitchen felt foreign. Every photo on the wall looked like a lie. Our vacation fridge magnets, our little souvenir spoon collection, all mocking me with their cheerful emptiness. I paced for a while, holding that list, until my fingers started folding it into a tight square without thinking. It was the same motion I used to do with receipts or gum wrappers. But this wasn't a receipt. It was the blueprint for my destruction. I thought about calling her, texting her, demanding answers. But then it hit me, she wouldn't answer. Not yet. Not until I gave her what she needed, an emotional collapse. A meltdown. A reason to check that final box. So I didn't call. I grabbed a backpack, shoved in some clothes, and walked out. No plan. No destination. Just an instinct to escape before I became a prop in her perfectly rehearsed final act. I wasn't even a full day off the grid before she found a way to reach me. Not through a call, not a message, no tearful voice memo or apology typed out in the dark. Instead, she posted a photo on Instagram. Just one. It was subtle, casual, almost forgettable. But I knew what it meant the second I saw it. I was staying in a motel 2 towns over, in a room that smelled like leftover cigarettes and bargain cleaning spray. I hadn't told anyone where I'd gone, not even my brother. My phone had been on airplane mode all night, but curiosity won. I turned it on. The first notification was from a mutual friend. "You good?" Then another. "Dude, what is happening?" That's when I opened the app. There it was, a picture of her and Blaze sitting on a patio I didn't recognize. She wore the same green dress from the party. He was holding a champagne flute like he'd just won something. The caption? "Freedom tastes like this clinking glasses #new chapter." New chapter. Like our marriage was just a prologue. Like everything we'd built, every late night talk, every fight survived, every dumb inside joke, was just filler content before the main event. And people were liking it. Commenting, "You look so happy, girl. Knew you deserved better." One person even wrote, "Finally," as if everyone else had been clued into this plan before me. I scrolled through the comments with the kind of nauseous obsession you don't realize is self-destructive until it's too late. But it wasn't just the photo that gutted me. It was what wasn't in it. No ring. No trace of the man she left behind. Even the dog, our dog, wasn't mentioned. Just her. Just him. Smiling like betrayal was a beach vacation. I wanted to respond. God, I wanted to write something cruel, something raw. But I knew she wanted that. She was trying to provoke a reaction. Anything to make herself look like the one who escaped the unstable husband. She was playing chess while I was still trying to figure out what game we were in. Instead, I scrolled through my own feed. Every memory with her felt infected now. Every smile looked forced. Every kiss, staged. Or maybe that was just my brain trying to cope by rewriting the past. The worst part was not knowing what was real and what was performance. Then I saw it. A DM request from an account I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. But something made me open it. It was a screenshot of another list. This one wasn't in her handwriting. It was typed, titled, "Contingency." And the message under it simply said, "You weren't the first, just the first one she planned." My whole body went cold. I read the message 5 times before I could even blink. "You weren't the first, just the first one she planned." My hands were sweating so much I almost dropped the phone. My mind immediately rejected it. No, this had to be some troll, someone stirring the pot. I didn't respond. I didn't click the attachment. I just stared at the words like they might rearrange into something less horrifying. But they didn't. They stayed there, cold and certain. And curiosity eventually won. I opened the file. It was a PDF, titled "Case File, Cherise Say." It looked like a damn dossier. Inside were screenshots, old photos, blurred out text threads. Names I didn't recognize. Men I'd never heard of. But Cherise was in nearly every picture, smiling, posing, laughing with different people in different cities. Different hair. Same eyes. Same patterns. One guy, the first one mentioned, was labeled Mark R., 2015, Portland. The notes under it: grad school, isolated, emotionally insecure, inherited condo. Then another, Devin S., 2017, San Diego, midlife crisis, recently divorced, owns 2 franchises. Each one was documented with the same cold precision: emotional profile, timeline, exit point, all followed by the same final phrase: initiated exit, clean, no contact. Then came my name, Wendell J., 2021 to 2024, Chicago. Notes: stagnating career until recent bump. Loyalty-driven. Predictable. Apartment in joint name. Safe fallback if Plan B fails. My entire life had been filed under 5 bullet points. That's how little I mattered. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled down and saw the message thread attached at the bottom. The sender had blacked out their name but wrote. I didn't want to get involved until I saw she was doing it again. My brother was one of them. He lost everything. Just figured you deserved to know. I sat there on the edge of the motel bed, feeling like the floor was gone. This wasn't just betrayal. This was craft. She didn't fall out of love with me. She targeted me, like I was some experiment. And worse, she'd done it before. I wasn't even unique in my suffering. I was just next in line. The entire relationship had been a performance. Her little quirks, the way she laughed too loud at my jokes, how she used to leave notes in my lunch bag, it wasn't affection. It was conditioning. She was making me dependent, emotionally compliant. Like prepping a house for sale while smiling at the buyer. I closed the file and threw the phone onto the pillow like it was radioactive. My heart wouldn't slow down. I thought about our wedding vows. How she cried during them. I thought they were real tears. Maybe they were. Or maybe she's just good at crying when people are watching. And then came the most disturbing thought of all. Was she done with me yet? Because if that box on her list was still unchecked, then maybe she wasn't waiting for me to fall apart. Maybe she was still pushing. I couldn't sleep. I didn't even try. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, the motel air conditioner groaning like it was dying a slow death. Every time I blinked, I saw her face, smiling across the table from that man, holding his hand like I never existed. And now I had a file on my phone proving I was just one name in a chain of calculated destruction. But the real question gnawed at me deeper than betrayal. Why did she want me to break first? It kept spinning in my head, that final unchecked box on her exit plan. It wasn't just about me signing divorce papers. No, she needed something. Something specific. And I was missing it. At 3:27 a.m., I sat up and unlocked my phone again. I opened the message thread from the anonymous sender and typed, "Why me?" Then I hesitated, deleted it, and replaced it with, "What does she get if I initiate?" No response. I waited 5 minutes, then 10. Nothing. So I did something desperate. I logged into our shared cloud account. She never changed the password. Probably didn't think I'd remember it. But I did. I always remembered things she thought I forgot. Birthdays. Her coffee order. The way she hated it when people said, I could care less. The cloud loaded slow. Probably the motel Wi-Fi. But eventually, it opened. Photos. Notes. A few old receipts. And then, buried in a folder titled Real Estate, I saw a document with both our names on it, digitally signed 3 weeks ago. My blood ran cold. Quit claim deed, transfer of ownership. She had filed to transfer sole ownership of our condo. The signature next to mine looked exactly like my handwriting. Because it was. She'd forged it. I stared at the screen, stunned. Suddenly her plan made more sense. She didn't just want me to walk away emotionally. She wanted me legally gone. If I initiated the divorce while appearing to abandon the home, that condo was hers, no contest. And she'd already lined up a buyer. That's what the second document said. Sale pending, under contract. I was being erased and sold off in the same breath. I felt sick. The whole time I thought I was spiraling because she cheated. But that was just her smokescreen. The public humiliation. The party stunt. The Instagram post. All of it was designed to push me over the edge while she quietly tied up the legal ends. She wasn't trying to hurt me out of spite. She was doing it for profit. I sat there shaking, trying to figure out what to do next. Do I call a lawyer? The police? Do I confront her and let her know I'm onto her? Or do I wait? Gather more evidence. Let her keep believing I'm the broken fool who stumbled away with his tail between his legs? But before I could even move, my phone buzzed again. A new message. Unknown number. It read, check the basement security cam. You still have access. Just do it. A friend. I had forgotten we even had one. But I wasn't ready for what I was about to see. Logging into the basement security feed felt like reopening a wound I hadn't even stitched yet. The camera was hidden, installed last year after a string of neighborhood break-ins. Charisse had called it overkill. Now I realized why. She wasn't worried about strangers. She was worried about proof. The footage took a minute to load. There wasn't much saved, just a few motion-triggered clips. I skipped through boring ones, me storing holiday boxes, her folding laundry. Then came the night of the party. 2:16 a.m. She came down in that green dress, barefoot, laughing softly to herself like she had just won a prize. In one hand, she held a bottle of wine. In the other, a folder. She walked to the cabinet under the stairs, pulled out a stack of papers, and replaced them with the folder. She crouched low, checked behind her, then looked straight at the camera. Not at it, through it. Like she forgot it was even there. She whispered something I could barely make out. But after rewinding 5 times and cranking the volume, I heard it. He'll never check here. He never notices anything. That sentence used to describe me perfectly, but not anymore. I called a lawyer the next morning. Explained everything. I handed over the footage. The forged document. even the anonymous file. Turns out, if someone forges your signature and attempts to sell jointly owned property behind your back, that's not just betrayal, it's a felony. Charisse didn't see it coming. The moment she was served, she texted me like we were still married. "Wendell, can we talk?" No apology, no remorse, just an attempt to regain control. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The condo sale? Blocked. Her social accounts? Quiet. And Blaze? Turns out his champagne lifestyle was funded by other people's wives. He disappeared the second she became complicated. As for me, I moved out. Found a quiet little place above a bookstore in a town where no one knows my name. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. And I wake up every day knowing that I didn't break like she wanted. I bent. I cracked. But I didn't break. She tried to write me out of my own life. But I kept the pen. Now it's your turn. Have you ever caught someone playing a long game behind your back? What did you do? Drop your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Reddit Confessions for more shocking, raw, and ultimately uplifting stories. Sometimes the worst betrayal leads to the best kind of freedom.